Hello and welcome back to the video on the F1 Journal, and today we are looking back at the 2022 Formula E season. And Jerry, it's been quite an interesting season, lots of changes really, because of course we had the qualifying format last year which just caused absolute chaos really, where any driver could basically win, but with the new one, knockout format, which I think really actually worked really well this season, it creates a really interesting dynamic and a much more, I don't know, fairer is the right word, season for the drivers. So yeah, today I think I'm going to go by team by team, just discussing each season, and yeah, I mean, like, let's get straight into it, and we're going to start off with the reigning world champions, Mercedes AQ, who retained their title. And yeah, what a brilliant season it was for Mercedes EQ. At Saudi Arabia, you thought really it could be like domination for Mercedes this new qualifying format, but in the end it wasn't quite domination at all really. It was still very competitive, but you know, top two in the standings for Mercedes technically with Venturi, but yeah, just on the Mercedes factory team alone, it's just so impressive really. What they in the sport for 3 seasons now before they pulled out, and were on 2 world titles, one with Nick de Vries, one with Stoffel van Dorn, and yeah, so impressive. They fully deserve the title. Stoffel's consistency this season was really what won in the title. He was outstanding. Nick de Vries did have some high points, the first race in Saudi Arabia, I think he won in Berlin as well. But you know, on the whole, it just wasn't consistent enough really over the course of the season. And in the end, I think he always disappointed with this season. But take nothing away from Stoffel van Dorn, he was just simply outstanding this season. And yeah, fully deserving of the title. I'm so happy with him for him because, yeah, like I say, he does deserve it. But moving on into second place, Rocket Venturi Racing. And yeah, another team that's had a really good season, although they technically do have the same car as Mercedes with the same powertrain. But in the end, Mercedes is too strong with them. But you know, you'd expect the victory team. But you know, I think they've had a really decent season once again this year. I mean, Eduardo Mortara really pushing it, finishing third in the championship. Another great result for him. He'll be disappointed, you know, kind of miss out at the end like he did last year. A bit, but on the whole, a really solid season for him. Really impressive once again. And Lucas Grassi as well. As the season went on, he really found his way back into it. And yeah, so it's a good form for him to move on to Mahindra for the start of Gen 3 next year. Moving on into third, and that was DS Pachita. A bit of the way back, it looked like Jeff would be in title contention, mainly through pure consistency, but he didn't win a race. The Costa won 1 or 2, I think. But yeah, on the whole, I would say that car just didn't really have the pace of the Team Mercedes cars, which is why ultimately they couldn't really challenge them. Yeah, I mean, like, bit of a disappointing season for them really in terms of car pace, but you know, the lineup of DaCosta and Jeff for me is just so good. It really did guide into a couple of wins and all of that sort of stuff. Moving on then to Jaguar TCS Racing in fourth, and yes, to be honest, it's kind of just a one-man team this season. Mitch Evans just absolutely destroying Sandbird, and they had really bit of a mixed season really, because you had the obvious high points like Rome, even the first race in Seoul, Mitch dominated. But in the end, I just suppose didn't have quite the consistency as Stoffel van Dorn to really challenge his title, because they did have some stinkers as well. The first couple of weekends really weren't great for Jaguar. But yeah, Sandbird, whereas Mitch Evans had a brilliant season, he was just nowhere this season. I just don't know what happened to him. He had a record of winning every race in every season before this season. In the end, it just hadn't quite paid off. He had a really poor season, so I think he'll be disappointed with that. Moving on then to fifth place, and that was Envision. And yeah, kind of a funny season for them as well. Nick Cassidy getting that win in New York. Robin France had a really strong first half of the season, but kind of just fell away a bit, which would have been disappointing for him. And yeah, on the whole, I would say kind of a mixed season for Envision. I thought maybe expected a bit more, but you know, kind of top of the midfield really. You say that he's a 4 because he's Titans in front. I think I'll be relatively happy with that. And moving on to next season with Buemi and Cassidy, it seems like it's a driving lineup, and it could be really interesting to start with Gen 3 for them. In sixth place was Avalanche and Andretti, and yeah, another interesting season for them, because of course they had Jake Dennis, who was obviously a rookie star of last year, and he really continued his form. Podium and Derry obviously had that outstanding weekend in London, and yeah, like I say, he was outstanding. They had Oliver Askew in the other car, and of course it did take him a bit of time really, didn't it, to get used to the car, but on the whole, I'd say he did a pretty decent job really this season. Maybe didn't get the points he quite deserved, but did have 2 top 5 finishes in the last few weekends, which really did increase his stock. It'd be a shame if he can't get a seat for next year, but I mean, like, it seems unlikely, but you know, I still think there is potential there if another team picks them up. But yeah, on the whole, compared to where they were last year with Jake Dennis so close to winning the title, I do think they will be slightly disappointed with that. Moving on then to 7th, and yeah, a really disappointing season for Porsche it was. Pascal Verlaine and Andre lost for a much more evenly match than last year, where Verlaine was comfortably ahead. Lost were of course moving on to Costco, which is an exciting signing, but I think all of their focus must have been on Gen 3, because their season for me was just so disappointing. Obviously I had the one term at Mexico, and I thought they'd have a really good season from now on, but it just really didn't work out. They, just really poor, and yeah, they need to sort out Gen 3, because they've had a really poor few seasons. In 8th was Mahindra. And yeah, Mahindra, they just had a weird season, because I mean, some races their car was just bloody great. Roland came second a few times. Sims just missed out on podium in New York, but the rest of that, or maybe a few other occasions, they were just nowhere. So yeah, a bit of a weird season for Mahindra really, and just waiting to work out where their car was good and where it wasn't so good really. In 9th was Nissan Edams, and disappointing season. I think it was just kind of this season with the qualifying formats where their car really got shown up as pretty shit, to be honest. And yeah, Gunther Bohemia, really strong driver line, just couldn't do much with it, and that just about sums it up really. In 10th was Neo 333. I think the big achievement for them this year was defeating Penske in the Autosport in the standings. This is a big result for them. Had their races, was it Roma they got the points, and that was the big one. Turvey and Tick, some really strong driver lineup. Both performed I think pretty well this season, they can be pleased with that. In 11th it was Dragon Penske Autosport, and last. And yeah, I mean, like, it was just a horrendous season. Sergio Sesse Camera, fair play to him, he really did a good job this season. Just got the scraps out of that and got some deserving points towards the end of the season. But Antonio Giovinazzi, yeah, I just don't know what more there is to say about him. It's just having a stinker. There were some rumours of car issues, but yeah, he just seemed miles off the pace. And yeah, really, I do feel like it wasn't a good thing for him really to take a seat here, because I don't think it's done him a lot of good, to be quite honest. And yeah, just rounding up a really disappointing season. Anyway guys, that's the video. Thanks so much for watching. So like, share, subscribe, and what's going on with the Fonts, daily football news, and subscribe to my channel, comment, that'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out.